Welcome back to the Explainer. So, if you're a developer or honestly even just someone tinkering with code on the weekends, the idea of setting up premium AI coding assistants like Claude Code for completely free, well, it usually sounds way too good to be true, right? But today, we're actually going to explore how to bypass the need for a massive, expensive graphics card humming under your desk. We're going to set up the NVIDIA NIM API to completely supercharge your coding environment. But first, we really have to address the elephant in the room. Is local AI coding actually viable for real development work? Look, I know a ton of you share this exact frustration. You see these wild promises online, you spend your entire evening trying to set up tools like Claude Code locally, and it just ends up feeling like total clickbait. You spend hours configuring everything just to find out your machine can barely generate a Hello World script without completely freezing up. It's a classic struggle. You've got the sluggish, incredibly hardware-dependent reality of using Ollama for local models. It leans so heavily on your computer's GPU, meaning unless you have an absolute beast of a machine, you're going to be waiting forever for just a single line of code. But then, on the flip side, is the real game changer, a lightning-fast, cloud-based, completely free setup using NVIDIA NIM. This basically bridges the gap, giving you all the blazing speed of the cloud without any of those massive subscription fees. So here's our roadmap for this explainer. 1. The slow, local AI problem. 2. NVIDIA's free cloud solution. 3. Setup for Mac and Linux. 4. Setup for Windows WSL. And finally, 5. The final project demo. Let's dive right in. Section 1. The slow, local AI problem. There's a quote from our source material today that really stands out. It says, "The local models you're running through Ollama are so slow that getting any real coding done is next to impossible." And honestly, it hits the nail right on the head. Unless you've dumped thousands of dollars into a ridiculously powerful desktop, running advanced AI models locally is kinda only good for tiny, trivial tasks. It totally breaks your flow state. You want an AI assistant to speed you up, not force you to stare at a blinking cursor while your laptop fan sounds like it's preparing for takeoff. Moving on to Section 2, NVIDIA's free cloud solution. Okay, this is the absolute aha moment of our explainer. A recent announcement just completely flipped the landscape. NVIDIA launched their NIM API, and get this, they are offering a wildly generous rate limit of 40 requests per minute. And the real kicker? There is no daily token limit. 0. For a developer, 40 requests a minute is literally practically unlimited. That's more than enough to handle almost all your real-world coding needs, intense debugging sessions, and rapid code generation loops without ever hitting a paywall. But, an API is only as good as the models it can actually run, right? Well, just look at the top-tier models currently available for free on this API. We're talking DeepSeek V4 Pro, GLM 5.1, Qwen, and Minimax. These are absolutely not lightweight, watered-down models. These are absolute powerhouses, highly comparable in coding ability to premium models like Claude Opus or Claude Sonnet. By leveraging Anthropic's Claude Code interface with these NVIDIA-hosted models, you are essentially getting an enterprise-grade setup for literally $0. Section 3. Setup for Mac and Linux. Now, if you're on Windows, hang tight for just a second. Your specific path is up next. Before Unix-based friends, following these 4 core steps cleanly in your terminal is absolutely crucial. Step 1, you're going to install the UV Package Manager and Python version 3.14. Step 2, run a quick command to download a specific working directory named NVIDIA-NIM. Step 3, and this is vital, you need to create an API key on the NVIDIA website. It just requires a really quick phone number verification, and then you paste that key into your hidden.n file. Oh, and when you paste your chosen model name into that file, remember you have to keep the NVIDIA /prefix right before the model name, otherwise it just won't connect. Finally, step 4, you run the NVIDIA NIM server in your terminal. This basically creates the bridge for Claude Code to talk directly to NVIDIA's cloud. All right, Section 4, Setup for Windows WSL. Okay, Windows users, you're up. Now, your setup requires one extra but absolutely crucial foundational step, and that's installing WSL, or the Windows Subsystem for Linux. Now, you might be wondering, why do we even need to do this? Well, standard Windows PowerShell just has some pretty severe limitations when it comes to modern developer tools. Almost all of these incredible AI coding tools are built natively for Linux first. So WSL basically provides a true native Linux environment right inside your Windows machine. It really is the absolute best of both worlds. So here are your 4 steps. Step 1, open PowerShell just once to run the WSL install command. And then grab Ubuntu right from the Microsoft Store. Step 2, open Ubuntu and set up your new Linux username and password. From here on out, just treat this Ubuntu terminal as your main workspace. Step 3, install UV using Linux commands. Seriously, do not use the Windows commands for this part. Finally, step 4, configure your .in file with your verified NVIDIA API key and the model name, and then run the NIM server. And just a quick reminder, for all of this to work seamlessly, make sure you create all your project folders inside this new Linux environment. You can actually access it super easily right from your standard Windows File Explorer under the Linux tab. Which brings us to section 5, the final project demo. Okay, Mac, Linux, and Windows users, we're all back together now. Let's actually prove that this pipeline works seamlessly. Before we go crazy and build a whole application, we want to do a simple proof of concept ping. So in the Claude Code command line interface, we'll just type explain HTML in one line. Immediately, we can see the API calling out on the backend, and Claude Code returns an accurate answer pretty much instantly. This confirms that Claude Code is successfully bypassing Anthropic's paid servers and calling our completely free NVIDIA NIM API in the background. Now, to maintain this workflow going forward, you just need to understand the timeline of a typical coding session. It basically goes like this. First, in Terminal 1, you start the NIM API server. You have to leave this running in the background. It's essentially the engine. Second, you open a fresh terminal, Terminal 2, and navigate to whatever specific project folder you're working in. Third, you launch the Claude Code command right inside that folder. And fourth, you make your request. For our specific demo today, we asked it to build a complete to-do list website from scratch. And guys, this is the real power of what we've just set up. Using the free DeepSeek V4 Pro model routed right through our local Claude Code interface, it generated a complete, perfectly structured to-do list application in literally seconds. The results are just incredible. It gave us a fully functional dark mode, the ability to seamlessly add, delete, and clear tasks, and separate tabs to sort tasks by active and done states. But you know what the most important part is? There were absolutely 0 bugs on the very first compilation. It worked flawlessly straight out of the terminal, no troubleshooting required. We've bypassed the hardware limits, we've totally bypassed the heavy subscription fees, and we've unlocked a massive workflow upgrade. So now that you have unlimited, enterprise-grade AI power right at your fingertips for absolutely free, what will you compile first?